We got Violent Bob Ross back here on the program. Luis Pena, who's going to be taking on Richie Smullen at the Ultimate Fighter 27 finale on July 6th. He's going to be making his UFC debut. Luis, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, James. I actually just got done eating breakfast here at the hotel.
Excellent. What hotel are you at? Where are you at right now?
I'm at the Hilton here in Gilroy, California. I've been training at AKA in San Jose for my fight coming up.
Excellent. That's awesome. I mean, obviously that connection with Cormier being your coach and everything has really worked out well for you. And we'll talk about training camp in a second. But first, man, congratulations on getting the UFC deal. When did you find out that you had this fight? Like, was this during the show or after the show? When did you find out?
So obviously, you know, like everyone saw on the show, Dana had kind of guaranteed me a spot on the finale. And it really wasn't until I was out here in California that they had told me, you know, that they had told me that they were looking for opponents. And then I want to say it was like 2 weeks in, out of nowhere, I'm just looking through my emails, and all of a sudden I see UFC bout agreement. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I
better answer that email.
Crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was like a dream come true.
Excellent. So take me to that moment. You get the bout agreement. Like, who's the first person you tell? What's going through your head as you see all this?
It's funny. Like, I was just scrolling through, and I remember stopping. Me and my boxing coach, Rosendo Sanchez, were stopping to get something to eat, and I just started screaming. And he was like, "What's going on?" And I just showed him my phone, and we both just started screaming and you know what I'm saying? And he hugged me. It was a great moment, you know. Ro and I have gotten really, really close from the show to over here. I actually, I would say about the first month of me being here, I was living with Rosendo. So he and I grew like really, really close.
Excellent, man. Now, on the show, it didn't come without a little bit of drama there, obviously, because you hurt your foot, and that was early on, you know, after your first fight there. You know, how tough was that, having the injury, being out of the tournament, and having to stay and, you know, still live in the house and not have all that outside contact?
Man, that's the thing is, you know, I've actually drawn a lot of criticism for how emotional I was during that time. But one thing people don't understand is that happened at the very beginning of the show, and I had to essentially go through the whole process, watching everyone essentially take what I thought was mine. And it was tough because, you know, I go from literally the highest high I had ever had in my entire life. I just won a professional fight on the Ultimate Fighter in front of Dana White. He told me, you know, it was one of the greatest fights on the show he'd ever seen. He told me all this great stuff. Everyone's saying all these great things about me, and then, you know, 2 days later, my dreams are completely taken out from under my feet. So it was a real emotional roller coaster for me during that time.
How was the overall experience for you? I mean, we were talking about this off air, joking. I mean, the show is still going on. We've, at the time we're recording this, Brackatona, Bryce Mitchell are fighting tomorrow night, I believe. How was everything just kind of leading up to that point, I guess, would be where we go, so we don't get anyone in trouble?
So for me personally, I know there's a lot of guys in the past and even on the show now that have complained, not necessarily complained, but that they weren't necessarily the most comfortable in that environment. But for me, after a while, I kind of realized like what that environment could do for me. You know, for the time that I was there training, I realized how big of a distraction my phone is, how big of a distraction TV is, how big of a distraction video games, my girlfriend is, and to be able to be in an environment where not only are you training with the best guys from around the world, but you have nothing to do but train and focus on training and fighting. You have the greatest like nutrition available to you because the people, the producers of the show want to provide the best environment they possibly can for you to strive and succeed. You know, it was a really great experience for me in that regard. And then, you know, just getting to know all the guys on the show was really, really great for me. I can't say I dislike anyone on the show. I know, you know, Delani Perry's one that has drawn a lot of criticism for the way he acts. And if you've watched the show, you've seen he and I got into it. But I'm a huge fan of the Fight God. You know, I really like him. I like everyone else on the show. It was we all had our ups and downs. We all had our differences at times. But I feel like by the end of it, we were all brothers.
Yeah, it really seemed like it was really focused on the fights this season, and one of the things I really liked was how they gave sort of the backstory on all of you, with the home tapes and everything and everything like that. I thought it was really strong this season as far as telling the characters. How happy were you in terms of the portrayal of yourself on the show with the editing and everything? Because personally, I thought you came across really well.
I was really happy with the way they portrayed me on the show. I mean, honestly, I figured they could have probably portrayed me a lot worse from some of the things you don't see on the show. But I was honestly very, very happy with the way they did it. I feel as though I came away came across as my genuine self.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Let's talk about this fight. So you're on the Ultimate Fighter finale, International Fight Week. It's a huge week that happens for the UFC, and you're taking on a tough guy and Richie Smullen, who's from SBG. And for those who haven't seen the show, spoiler alert, he was out of his fight because of cramps. I felt so bad for him when I saw that whole thing happen with him being out of his fight. But now he gets this opportunity against you. So how do you feel like you match up against him now that you've had this chance to assess him and everything?
First of all, I already did this on Twitter, but to set the record straight, Richie it wasn't cramps and it wasn't like nerves or anything like that. I forget the medical term for it. A couple of people on my Twitter have specified, but what happened is like due to overtraining.
Right. Yeah, it was overtraining. That's right. My
yeah,
mistake.
exactly.
Yeah.
Richie's muscles broke down and released like lactic acid into his bloodstream, which then filtered through his kidneys, which almost caused his body to shut down. But I actually have a lot of respect for Richie. Of all the guys in the house, he was one of the few guys that I truly like, not only as like a fighter, but as just a man in general. I have a lot of respect for. One of the thing people don't really know is during tryouts, Richie and I actually grappled each other during the grappling portion of tryouts. Um, this honestly, man, this is a great matchup. I feel like Richie and I both bring a lot to the table. He's the same kind of fighter I am. We're both going to come forward and meet each other in the middle and see who backs down first. Uh, I'm not really worried about him training at SBG or anything like that, man. None of those guys are going to be in there in the cage with him. And for me personally, I've been training with world-class fighters myself here at AKA, so it makes for one of the greatest fights I could possibly be a part of. And to be making my UFC debut the day after my 25th birthday on International Fight Week, it feels like destiny for me.
Have you checked in with this team, making sure he's not overtraining or anything like that? Because obviously we want this fight to happen because it's going to be a great matchup.
Not really. I'm honestly not concerned. I feel as though his team, he's got a great coach behind him in John Kavanaugh. I'm sure they're taking care of him really well to make sure that doesn't happen again.
And you've talked a lot about being in California training at AKA. How long have you actually been out there since the show's wrapped up?
So I've been out here since May 9th, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, the week after the episode in which my fight aired. I flew out to do TUF Talk and then flew from LA to San Jose and have been here ever since.
Interesting. And so is the plan to stay there permanently, or are you just going to see how this goes with this fight and then maybe reassess things?
Right now, I'm just kind of doing my camp out here. I have a strong loyalty to my team back home in St. Louis at St. Charles MMA. But, of course, I can't lie. The training out here has been amazing. Not only that, but I do really enjoy the lifestyle out here in California. It's right up my alley.
I was going to say, yeah.
I almost feel like I was raised to be in the West Coast.
Okay. That's interesting. Now, when we think of American Kickboxing Academy, we think of the higher weight classes and then some of the lower weight classes. But who are some of the guys you get to work with? I'm guessing like a John Fitch. Who are some of the guys you get to work with?
It's funny you brought Fitch up. The other day, I got to pick his brain a little bit, and he gave me one small detail that's really helped my game come along very, very well. I've been working a lot with Adam Piccolotti.
Oh, nice.
He's actually, he's been my main sparring partner, one of my main training partners since I've been out here.
He's coming off a big win in his last fight. He that win over Carrington Banks that he got. That was great.
I know. I was so excited. Speaking of Carrington Banks, it's funny. I don't know if he ever knew this, but at one time I was contracted to fight him in my professional debut.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. But But
Anyways, Piccolotti, you're
yeah, I've been
training with
training a
him.
lot
Yeah.
with.
Anyways.
But I've been training with Adam. Thomas Diagni, the Muay Thai coach out here at AK, has helped me a lot. And then, of course, my coaches, Rosendo Sanchez, Javier Mendez, Leandro Vera, and Ron Kessler, all those guys, as well as, the big guy himself, DC. He's helped me quite a bit. Also want to give a huge shout out to Duran Wynn and Jake Casper, two great wrestlers that have helped me come along with my wrestling, and Sean Bunch as well. Sean, former world team member and current MMA fighter. I think he's looking at making an LFA fight here coming up. Sean's really, really helped me as well. We've actually, for me being a wrestler, my striking's come along so much in my career that they've kind of helped me get back to my roots here.
And I'm glad you brought up Jerron Wynn. He's great. He made his Bellator debut a little while ago, but he's a guy that you need to keep an eye on in Bellator because he's going to be doing big things. He's got that wrestling background, but he's quite the talent. You see a little bit of him on the show. I always notice him here and there, but that's good to see. How do you see this fight playing out on July 6th? I mean, you're going to get the win. You wouldn't have taken the fight, but how do you see it unfolding?
Man, so it's an interesting fight because I not to take anything away from Richie, but I don't see him being able to outstrike me, and the wrestling department is a little suspect as well. But he has really, really dangerous jiu-jitsu. He goes for those really dangerous leg locks. He goes for a lot of high percentage stuff. Honestly, I just hope to get right in his face, keep the range on him, keep him off my legs, and hopefully score the knockout. Hopefully take home some bonus money.
Well, it's going to be an awesome card, and it's coming up here on July 6th. It's the Ultimate Fighter 27 finale. Luis, it was great getting a chance to talk to you. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Just remember, guys, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Violent Bob Ross, all one word. Facebook, Violent Bob Ross, Luis Pena. And then, of course, I'd like to give a big shout out to all my sponsors at Koi CBD, Fuji Sports, Viles Translations LLC, Arch Street Wheel and Tire, and I know I'm missing. Oh, Impact Iron Jaw Mouth Guards.